you're rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that? I think she's feeling me. Turn it up.
Hello, so I'm here with Lynnese Page, and she plays Sasha. And yes, if you notice, she has the same last name as myself. And, you know, some of you might be thinking that there was a little nepotism, but I absolutely made her audition like anybody else. I did not guarantee her the role. She won the role, and she is fantastic in the role. So introducing my niece, Lynnese Page.
Hey. Hello.
So let's get down to the nitty gritty. So tell us a little bit about Sasha.
Sasha's a very to the book, I think educated, put together, refined, or molding of a refined young woman. Sasha is to the absolute T. All rules that are made are never broken by Sasha. And that's sort of my introduction to her.
Okay.
I think she is, and I think she's just sort of a young woman who has an idea, a vision, and kind of sticking to that without any interference. That makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And what made you want to play her?
Opposite of what I would normally play. Sasha is the absolute opposite of characters that I normally am drawn to.
Okay.
I think she encompasses like every young woman's inner child.
Okay.
Before they're introduced to friends and outside influences and, and sort of start to dress their own personality in their own way. I think she embodies that.
Okay, so and that resonated with you?
Entirely so, yes. I think she allowed me to go back to a place where it's kind of like a very soft, vulnerable, safe place.
Yeah, because I did write her to kind of be Suirya's voice of reason, but also like safe place too.
Right, like she would be, because she can be like Suirya's older or younger sister.
Right.
But she's definitely an inner sister of some sort. Like she's that person that's always going to keep you in line and check you.
Right, and we all need somebody to check us.
Yes.
I think, and we all have someone that checks us,
Right.
Time. Is there anything about this character that's like you, maybe?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of things about Sasha that are like me. And I think that was my initial draw. Like after sitting down with her and really going through it, that was my draw to her. She's, like I said, very, in a sense, naive, childlike, the inner part of it, where it's just like, well, these are the rules, why break them? This is what we're supposed to do, why not do it? Let's listen, let's follow direction. I was a lot of that growing up, being the older child from my parents,
right,
and being like the middle cousin. I played a lot to that narrative because it was like, well, why not listen when you're supposed to do something, and why not do what we're supposed to do so you don't upset mom or dad or anybody else? And they're very safe. I played safe a lot, I would say. And I think Sasha does that a lot. She plays safe. She may not necessarily be happy in her day-to-day.
Right.
And I think we could see that in some of her banter with her friends.
Right.
But she was never gonna sway outside of that.
Right. And we first see her in the episode called A Bad Good Girl. So and that's Suirya. So Sasha is probably a good girl.
Yes. Very good girl. And I think she just hasn't had her breaking point that would stretch her outside of the good girl role.
Right. So that was very intentional to have that counterbalance to
Yes.
Suirya, you know.
Yeah.
The central theme of Secret Swipes and Lies is control. How does it manifest in Sasha?
Can you not see? It manifested everything down to her wardrobe. I think the way she dressed. I think
very neutral, right? We put you in neutrals.
Very neutral, but also
About
very
earthy.
like very earthy, which is grounded, very neutral, very safe, very respectful.
Right.
It's everything is controlled. Even her idea of like when Benjamin was talking about, oh honey, there's a line in there where he's telling Suirya to like kind of let the freak flag fly, or
right.
And Sasha's rebuttal is just like, no, like, what are you doing? Like, don't do that. No, play it safe, do what you're supposed to do. I mean, control, Sasha embodies control. So I think in order to really, how can I say that? She embodies control in every aspect, really. I think I was just sort of repeating myself. She embodies control in all aspects.
Yeah,
like down
like
to
the embodiment of it.
Yeah, she's like tight, tight
control.
Yes, which is not really in control, but it's her safe place of being in control. That's how she can have power over herself and power over people.
Right. Of like, telling them, well, they should do the right thing, or this is what you're
look at me.
supposed to do.
Yeah, this is what you're supposed to do. Look at me. I've not veered off.
Right. Exactly. And so like I said, we meet her in episode 4, A Bad Good Girl. And so when we meet her, can you just describe the scene where I think it's you and her are kind of walking and talking. And so in that moment, what do you think, like where their relationship is and what Sasha is thinking about Suirya at that moment? Because they're walking and talking.
Right, before they go into the house. And it's the reveal about, what she's doing. And I think that's the only quiet time that they have where Suirya can really tell her friend, this is like her sister, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I like about what I'm doing. And I think in that moment, I think the initial reaction from Sasha was to judge.
Right. And Suirya is kind of like just revealing it because she just wants a little affirmation, or even like kind of
that you're that you're like girl, do you, like it's all good. But I think there's a line in there when Sasha goes, okay, I won't tell anyone, but I'm not gonna lie for you either, but I'll hold you down. In that part of control, there's a huge aspect of curiosity that Sasha has.
Right.
And there's interest too. And I hope that comes across very much in the conversation, because I think moreover than anything else, Sasha is entirely enticed by this.
Right.
She's enticed by this. That control won't let her show that, but she like, girl, you getting all the cakes. What is that? What is that like? What is that? She couldn't dare go there with her friend, because it's just like, well, somebody has to be the level-headed one here. But like, what does it feel like? And I think there was a holdback, and I think that was the part where she's just like, I'm not gonna lie for you. I will, because she also wants to invite Suirya to continuously come in and share that, so she can live vicariously through her.
Exactly.
I want to hear about these things.
You do this, like you go like this, and you like, girl, I never thought, I never thought you were like the freaky type. That's the moment.
That's her fantasizing about it. She's
And
Okay.
so you do give us a little bit like, wait a minute, but I never thought that you were
Right.
the type, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
then Suirya is like, I'm not into labels, you know, don't label me, you know,
Right. And I
kind of
mean, like,
reminding
I
her
mean,
friend, like, that's a judgment kind of. And,
yes,
you know,
yes. And again, remember, Syria and Sasha come from the same world. Like they come
right.
from that very refined, I would say
Bougie.
black, bougie, black excellence kind
Right.
of world.
Right.
Also in the church house,
Right.
But yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of like places where she wants to let loose, let her freak flag hang, and she can't go there.
Right. She can't.
Absolutely
So,
not.
so now I'm going to go to a much lighter side of the interview, and I like to ask a few kind of like fun questions. So, what color in the color wheel would Sasha's aura be?
Ooh, ooh.
And
Sasha's
why?
and why? Sasha's aura wheel would probably be, it's not even on the color wheel. It's so I have two colors that I would say, no, actually, I would say green. I would say
Green.
a green. Yeah, a
Okay.
green. A very earthy, vibrant, but earthy. And it's not like a Kelly green. It would be kind of like the back of the wall,
Right. Our background.
like olive kind of green.
Okay.
Yeah, I would give her that.
Why?
It's subdued.
Okay.
It's like an olive. You look at an olive, right?
Mhm.
And it looks kind of bland, and then you get it, and it's like a shock in your mouth. You're like, ooh, okay.
Mhm.
And olives can, depending on color and region, they have varying tastes, but I think I would say Sasha is a varied taste, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. That does make sense actually.
Okay.
And if your character were a song, what song
Yeah.
would it be?
Oh, if she were a song, I would say she would probably be a Beyonce, Run the World.
Run the world. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because so the reason I say Beyonce too is because Beyonce can also play to that olive color, like this good girl secretly, and you don't hear it only in her songs. It's
Right.
like only in her responses and
Right. When
reactions.
she's Sasha Fierce, because she's on
When
stage.
she's right,
Which
exactly.
imagine, it's Sasha Fierce.
Exactly.
That's her alter ego.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there
So
you
this is
go.
making sense.
And what is her spirit animal?
Her spirit animal would probably be a caterpillar. She's yet to blossom.
Oh, okay.
I thought a lot about that actually, because I was like, she's kind of slow moving, but she's so layered.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, she's living vicariously through Suirya. And I think she hasn't had the moment to metamorphosize into that butterfly.
Okay.
She's gonna get there. And you'll write that, maybe, or you'll leave
Um,
it to the audience,
well,
but she will.
it's it's written. It's written.
Okay, see.
So it's already
So
written.
it's already written, and I just
And
think
she
that she just
does.
hasn't.
She does
Yeah,
get to where it's still Sasha. She doesn't turn into a Suirya.
yeah, but she definitely, I would hope that she, kind of lets her hair down a little bit and lives a little, and breaks outside of that, the constraints of her domestication and the idea of what she should be, and yada 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 yada. But I would say she's a caterpillar.
Okay. I would say
Mhm.
she hasn't quite blossomed into a butterfly.
No,
She's
she's
in the
still crawling.
cocoon, like
Yeah.
what's written about her for the next, for the feature film.
Okay.
She's creating the cocoon.
Okay. So see, I'm saying right now she's crawling. She's still crawling.
Right.
She hasn't even settled to make the cocoon yet.
Right. So she's definitely making the cocoon.
Okay.
And still going in a very different direction than Suirya, but going in the direction that feels right for her.
Right. Okay.
So,
Perfect. Yeah.
well, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. And I can't wait to see the finished product. And, you know, all of you gave such powerful performances. And everybody out there, all my subscribers, you can please like us and subscribe to our Patreon page, especially to support us creating more scripted, original indie content. If you want that, please subscribe. Thank you so much, and see you out there in the stratosphere. If you'd like to see more, you can become a member here on YouTube, or you can go to our Patreon page and subscribe at the Eternal City Productions Patreon page. Or you can show your support by tipping us with the Super Thanks button below.